3 people dead, nearly 150 injured. The search is on to find who's responsible for a double bombing at the Boston Marathon. We have the latest on the investigation.
All of a sudden, there's this gigantic explosion with like a mortar going off. You saw the flash. You could hear the sounds of folks screaming.
And we'll hear from some local residents who saw those explosions firsthand. Your news starts right now.
Non-stop local news for Maryland, Virginia, and Washington, D.C. This is News Channel 8.
Good Tuesday morning, everybody. Plenty to catch you up on this morning.
Rather somber tone to the start of our Tuesday, April 16th. Let's head first out to the roads, check in with Jamie, see what's going on there. Jamie, good morning.
It's a quiet one so far. Not too much to worry about as far as big backups or delays. Metro Rail just opening on time. Adam Caskey, over to you.
All right, Jamie, 5:02 a.m. and we have mostly cloudy conditions again. That onshore flow from the ocean is causing the low clouds again this morning. A patch or two of drizzle, but overall we're not looking at any really significant rain chances until late Friday. That's your Paisano 7-day. Back to you at the desk.
Adam, thanks so much. And now back to our top story, the deadly bombing attack in Boston. At least 3 people are dead this morning following the explosions.
The FBI says it is being treated as an act of terror. Tamon Bradley has the latest.
This morning, the city of Boston is on heightened alert less than 24 hours after terror erupted. Thousands were celebrating Patriots Day, running in the city's marathon, when just a few yards from the finish line at 2:50 p.m., the first bomb explodes.
Okay, I have multiple people down here, okay? I don't know what the cause is. Stand by.
Chaos ensued amid the white smoke. Just seconds later, another explosion. At least 3 people were killed, including an 8-year-old boy. More than 140 injured.
A large puff of smoke, and then ultimate chaos, everybody running everywhere.
I saw quite a few casualties coming back. I saw one guy with his legs gone at the knees, some ankles and feet missing, shrapnel wounds on people on the sides of the head, and other things. It's just not good.
The bombs went off about 4 hours after the start of the race, just 50 to 100 yards apart. First responders rushed to the scene while local hospitals quickly mobilized. Some victims were transported by wheelchairs and stretchers. One hospital official said the scene looked like a war zone. President Obama was notified within minutes. He promised action.
I'm supremely confident that Bostonians will pull together, take care of each other, and move forward as one proud city. And as they do, the American people will be with them every single step of the way.
Law enforcement sources tell ABC News bomb techs are combing over forensic evidence for any clues about the explosive devices. Officials are tracking multiple persons of interest, including a man being treated at an area hospital, as well as a person who was seen trying to gain access to a restricted area 5 minutes before the blast. Tamon Bradley, ABC News, Boston.
As the search for the bomber continues this morning, the explosive devices, as you heard, used in the attack may be providing some important clues.
And typically homemade bombs, like you would learn to build a bomb via the internet, are sloppy bombs, basically. If this bomb was built by someone that was a bomb maker, like from Iraq or Afghanistan, there are signatures of those type of bombs.
That's former FBI investigator Brad Garrett. He says it will take some time to examine that evidence. Authorities are also searching through security camera video and any cell phone videos or photos turned into police. D.C. and other cities increasing security at landmarks, government buildings, transit hubs, and other locations after the explosions in Boston. Pennsylvania Avenue right outside the White House closed to pedestrian traffic yesterday afternoon. Metro Transit Police putting K-9 units and extra patrols at L'Enfant Plaza and other stations. It's important to note there are no specific threats against D.C., but city leaders are taking no chances.
The Boston Marathon brings in participants from all around the world, including some from our area. An Arlington man says he feels lucky that he and his family are alive after they survived the bombings.
The only thought was going through my head was, I don't want to blow up. I don't want to blow up. I don't want to die here.
John Walls captured the aftermath on his cell phone. He was sitting in the stands waiting for his wife Cindy and daughter Katie to cross the finish line when the explosions happened. That's when he says he and the people around him rushed down the stairs looking for safety. He says it took hours to find his wife and daughter.
This way.
Oh, my God, do I feel lucky to be alive. I couldn't have hugged my wife and daughter anymore. Our knees were shaking, our hearts were pounding.
What a relief for him. Well, the Arlington family is headed back home this morning. Glad to hear they're okay.
Absolutely terrifying.
So this Arlington family wasn't the only one to experience the attacks.
Yeah, Tom Rousey joins us live from Boston with a story of a runner from Rockville. Tom.
Well, Melanie and Catherine, it is a strange morning here in Boston. A lot of people waking up, and it's just beginning to sink in what happened yesterday. If you look behind me here, this is one of the many streets in this area that have been completely shut down by the police. Basically, a huge area surrounding Copley Square, which is where those bombs went off yesterday, is shut down as the FBI takes over this investigation. Here's video from yesterday. There were hundreds, literally, of local D.C. area runners in this race. We found names listed from Virginia, Maryland, and the district. One group that had approximately 40 runners is called the Montgomery County Road Runners. Now, the good news is it appears that all of them and their families are okay. We talked to one member who completed the race a while before the bombs went off yesterday. His name is Dan DeFonso from Rockville. He said this is just a very sad thing because he says you cannot imagine in the world of running how big this race is, and he fears it won't ever be the same.
It's the last thing you expect. As I was telling other people, this is the Super Bowl of everything we do sporting having to do with running. This is the World Series, the Masters of our event. People spend their entire lives trying to qualify for this event. They spend the entire year training once they do qualify for it. And again, it makes it all unimportant in the grand scheme of things.
And back out here live, this is the scene this morning in Boston. Again, many streets shut down, all surrounding the area called Copley Square. This is an area called the Back Bay in the city, which is waking up to a very unusual and a very sad morning. Over 140 people were injured in these explosions, and we know of 3 deaths at this point. I can tell you that when you talk to Bostonians around here, it's very sad for them. It's also very frustrating because at this point they don't know who to direct their anger at. They're waiting to hear who was responsible for this, whether it was some kind of organized terrorist attack, whether it was a lone terrorist. We just don't know at this point, and they really want more answers. There are a lot of rumors swirling around, but few concrete facts at this point as to who exactly is responsible. Live in Boston, I'm Tom Rousey, News Channel 8.
Hope to get those answers soon. Tom, thank you.
Well, the bombings at the Boston Marathon are delaying some important business in Washington. A planned release of an immigration reform bill will not happen today. Senator John McCain tweeted last night that out of respect for victims of the Boston bombings, that the group of senators who are working on the proposal will not hold a news conference to talk about details of the plan today. Now, the plan is expected to include a fine, background checks, and a 10-year pathway to citizenship for undocumented immigrants. Meanwhile, the debate on gun control in the Senate appears likely to take place late this week. But a bipartisan proposal to expand background checks for gun buyers might be facing an uphill battle. By last night, 9 Republican senators said that they would oppose the plan. And combined with the 31 senators who voted against debating the overall gun bill last week, that would bring potential opponents on expanding background checks to 41, just enough votes to block the Senate from considering a compromise.
Well, we have plenty more coming up this morning. D.C., of course, is honoring Emancipation Day today, and the parade has officials on alert after Boston.
Coming up, we're going to tell you what precautions city leaders are taking to make sure the public is safe. It's 11 after 5.
Welcome back and good morning. We'll start in Maryland on 95. No problems from Laurel. Adam Caskey, now to you.
All right, Jamie, 5:15 on our Tuesday morning. We're still in an unsettled weather pattern, so we just can't rule out these isolated or widely separated sprinkles here and there. Today, Melanie and Catherine.
Adam, well, this morning, D.C. is getting ready for the Emancipation Day parade. But yesterday's bombings at the Boston Marathon has officials on high alert.
Yeah, John Gonzalez joins us live with more on the security concerns. And John, everybody has to have this kind of maybe in the back, if not front of their minds today.
Absolutely. There's no doubt about it. It is Emancipation Day here in the district, a holiday that usually includes a large parade, a concert, even fireworks. Tonight, well, this parade will end here at City Hall, just a block from the White House. And as you can see already this morning, roads are blocked and police are keeping a watchful eye. This morning's parade, which runs along Pennsylvania Avenue, will go on as scheduled, but nerves will definitely be uneasy and security details will be on high alert. Mayor Vincent Gray says there is no specific threat against the district, but in light of the bombings in Boston, preliminary readiness plans have already been put in place.
I want to say right at the outset that we stand ready.
The police chief says visitors today will see a visible increase of police presence, and those reminders are already evident around the city.
I can't do nothing about it, and it's our country and it's our capital, and hopefully it's well protected.
At the White House, armed officers have closed off Pennsylvania Avenue to pedestrian traffic. The Pentagon also responding by adding more officers in and outside the building. And at metro stations like L'Enfant Plaza, Metro Transit K-9 units inspect areas.
We would do that anytime there's an incident anywhere, nationally or internationally, until we have enough information to feel very comfortable that there's no potential connection here to Washington, D.C.
And back here live this morning, MPD tow trucks are also towing vehicles that have been parked here along the parade route overnight. Now, we can also tell you that we've noticed throughout the city electronic signs are posted, and they are asking people to report any suspicious activity. Even with all the warnings and alerts, the mayor is urging residents to not be afraid and come out today and take part in all the Emancipation Day festivities. Reporting live, John Gonzalez, News Channel 8.
John, you were talking about the security, stepped-up security measures for this. What about smaller things like backpacks and trash cans?
There's no word on whether anything's going to be restricted here at the parade as far as backpacks. Emancipation Day is not like a 4th of July where you have all the security checkpoints to get in and out of the city, so it's going to be hard to restrict anything like that. We have noticed, of course, a lot of police activity, and you can bet, Melanie, they will be keeping a very close eye on vehicles and trash cans and really all the buildings here downtown.
John Gonzalez reporting for us live in Northwest. John, thanks so much.
And plenty to know about travel today around the city. DDOT says reversible lanes on Connecticut Avenue and other roads will not be in effect today. Rush hour parking restrictions will be enforced, but all other parking regulations are suspended. Trash will not be collected today, and several streets will be closed for the parade and festival. For a full list, you can head to our website, news8.net. Coming up next, we'll hear from one man whose image during the Boston Marathon has been seen over and over. You probably saw it. A 78-year-old man is talking about being knocked off his feet and still crossing that finish line.
Units, stay off the air. Units, stay off the air. Just make your way over there. All units, stay off the air and make your way over there. I only want to hear from the 984. I only want to hear from that supervisor.
Hey, Delta 984, give me a clear to what I need. I need as many as you can give me. I want Ring Road cleared, ambulances in and out on Ring. 984, take control of the fire coming in. I need lanes open here.
Copy, just keep giving it out, sir. Anybody else, stay off the air.
Delta 984.
Delta 984, sir, go.
Help up from the medical tent. Get as many people up here as you can from the medical tent.
The chaos evident, and a lot of it, those are just some of the emergency conversations heard between the police on their scanners after the bombing yesterday in Boston.
And meanwhile, the image of that 78-year-old man being knocked down as he crossed the finish line, it has been replayed over and over again. Actually, it was just short of the finish line. And here's what the veteran marathoner describes that moment.
Well, I was just approaching the last straightaway to the finish line, and I'd had a good day, and I was feeling really good. And I got down within about 15 feet of the finishing apron, and this tremendous explosion sounded like a bomb went off right next to me, and shock waves just hit my whole body, and my legs just started jittering around. I knew I was going down, and so I ended up down on the blacktop, and I didn't feel any severe pain, but as I rolled over, I seen a little scratch in my leg, but nothing too bad. So I laid there just momentarily. One of the finisher assistants come over and talked to me and asked me if there's anything to do, and offered to give me a hand, help me get up, and help me get over to the finish line so I could complete my race.
Lucky for him, he got to finish his race. He was helped across that finish line. And then after that, he said he was well enough to go home with his wife. So happy to hear that that story didn't end too badly for him. But, you know, they had the medical tent set up there at the finish line for the marathoners.
Right.
And that was a good thing because the doctors and nurses were all there.
Right.
However, they were more prepared for cardiac type events and not so much for trauma events like this. But at least they had wheelchairs and other devices so they could respond quickly. That was a
terrifying scene. They said it was like Baghdad, not Boston. So we'll have much more on that. But first, we want to check in with Jamie for the traffic. Jamie, how we doing?
On the Baltimore-Washington Parkway, it's a rough ride. That's the latest from the traffic center. Now with a look at the weather, here's Adam Caskey.
And Jamie, I want to go straight to some of our sky cameras that we have. This is our rooftop camera. More news, traffic, and weather coming right up.
Some other news around the region now. Later this morning, the Virginia Tech campus will pause to mark 6 years since one of the deadliest school shootings in U.S. history.
The commemoration of the day that a gunman killed 32 students and faculty members began at midnight with the lighting of a ceremonial candle. That candle will stay lit until midnight tonight. There will be a moment of silence at 9:43 a.m., followed by a community picnic later in the day.
A funeral mass will be held today for a local teen killed by an Army recruiter in a murder-suicide. Police say Staff Sergeant Anthony Arndt shot 17-year-old Michelle Miller last Sunday and then killed himself. Miller was an honors student at Rockville High School. She was signed up to enter the Army Reserves after graduation. Today's funeral begins at 10 a.m. at St. Mary's Catholic Church in Rockville.
A former Marine corporal charged with murdering a Navy petty officer in Arlington is scheduled to go on trial today. Jorge Torres is accused of killing Amanda Snell in her barracks room at Joint Base Meyer Henderson Hall. It happened back in 2009. Prosecutors are seeking the death penalty. Torres is already serving life sentences for 2 separate attacks in Arlington, and he's charged with murdering 2 girls in Illinois back in 2005.
After the break, we continue our coverage of the Boston Marathon bombings.
And we will find out who did this. We'll find out why they did this. Any responsible individuals, any responsible groups will feel the full weight of justice.
Up next, we're going to take a closer look at the investigation to track down whoever is responsible for the attacks.